Christmas is supposed to be a time of warmth, of family, of safety. But on December 25, 2006, in Phoenix, Arizona, Christmas night became the beginning of the nightmare, one that exposed a deadly chain of mistakes and a truth that no one saw coming. The story begins with Heather Quan. She was born in April 10, 1985. At 21 years old, she was a college student, bright, cheerful, and deeply kind. Her friends described her as someone who truly noticed others. She dreamed of becoming a prosecutor, someone who fought for justice. She lived with her boyfriend, Ryan Waller. Ryan was just 18 years old. He grew up in a loving family and had one passion above all else: music. He played the guitar and even using it to win Heather's heart. They had known each other since childhood. Their families approved. Everything about their lives together seemed safe. On December 23, 2006, Ryan visited his father, Don Waller, whose home was under renovation. And before Ryan left, Don said something simple: "Come by on Christmas. Bring Heather. We'll have dinner." December 25 arrived. Don prepared a large Christmas meal. Relatives filled the house. But as evening turned slowly into night, Ryan and Heather never showed up. Calls went unanswered. Text messages remained unread. By late evening, worry quietly turned into fear.
Worried, Don and his wife drove to the couple's house. They rang the doorbell. They knocked, but no answer.
Ryan's car was still there.
Growing alarmed, Don called the police and asked for a welfare check.
Hours passed. Police finally arrived at around 11 p.m.
They walked around the house. Then, through a window, they saw something chilling.
A woman lying motionless on the couch.
But officers said they could not enter without a warrant. Even when danger is suspected, police often hesitate without clear, exigent circumstances.
Another hour passed. As a locksmith prepared to open the door, suddenly the door opened from inside. A young man stepped out. It was Ryan Waller. Police were confused. Then, without hesitation, they rushed inside. On the couch lay Heather Quan. She was dead.
Ryan had a black eye, visible bruising, and looked completely disoriented. At that moment, Ryan stopped being a victim and became the prime suspect. Heather was pronounced dead, and the house became a crime scene. Ryan was taken in for interrogation. His parents watched in disbelief as their son was arrested.
For 5 to 6 hours, Ryan was questioned. He couldn't remember basic details. He kept saying, "I don't know, I don't remember." And police believed he was pretending.
Photos of his injuries were taken, but no medical exam was done.
Then Ryan said something strange. "I think it's about Richie and his dad." But investigators brushed it off.
Until one officer noticed something horrifying: a hole near Ryan's nose. This wasn't confusion. This was a catastrophic injury. Ryan was rushed to the hospital. Doctors made a stunning discovery. Ryan had been shot twice in the head. One bullet entered through his nose, another through the side of his brain. Head trauma can cause blood to pool behind the eyes, creating a black eye, even without visible bleeding. Ryan underwent emergency brain surgery. He survived, but he would never fully recover. After nearly a decade of living with the effects of his injuries, Ryan passed away in January 2016 at the age of 28.
Ryan Waller was not the killer. He was a victim. The name Ryan mentioned, Richie, came back into focus.
Richie Carver, 23, and Larry Carver, his 54-year-old father,
both had violent criminal histories.
Richie had spent years in prison for armed robbery. Psychiatrists had warned he showed psychopathic traits, but system failures allowed him back on the streets.
Before Ryan lived in the house, it was rented by a man named Eric.
Richie's former roommate. Eric later said Richie was unstable and dangerous. He forced him out and rented the home to Ryan.
But Richie kept returning, claiming he left items behind or that pet was missing.
On Christmas night, Ryan and Heather were preparing to leave for dinner. Then, they heard noises. Richie and Larry Carver were breaking in. Larry carried a gun. Ryan was shot twice, in the head. Believing he was dead, they moved through the house and found Heather. She was shot and killed. They stole guitars and electronics
And then disappeared into the night. Heather Quan never made it to Christmas dinner. This case became infamous, not only for its brutality, but for what it revealed.
A victim treated as a killer, gunshot wounds, mistaken for guilt, and fatal delays. That changed everything.
On Christmas night, two lives were destroyed, one by violence, the other by disbelief.
Heather Quan never became the prosecutor she dreamed of being. She never reached Christmas dinner. Her life ended on a couch, in a home she thought was safe. Ryan Waller survived, but survival came with a heavy price.
He lived with scars and seizures that finally took his life. For many hours, the truth was right there. This was not only a crime, it was a series of wrong decisions. Because sometimes the most dangerous mistake is believing you already know the answer.
Richie and Larry were both given life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And this is the story of Ryan Waller. If you like the story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now see you in the next video. Bye bye.